Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. President Andrzej Duda has designated Mateusz Morawiecki to be the Prime Minister of Poland, continuing the post he held in the previous government, and has given him the task of forming a new government of the United Right grouping, which comprises Law and Justice and a number of smaller parties. Tomorrow at 2:30 p.m, the new cabinet will be sworn in at the presidential palace in Warsaw. The new Prime Minister will set out his programme in his inaugural speech to the new parliament next Tuesday.
Dziś przychodzi ten moment, w którym następuje powierzenie misji utworzenia.
Today we have reached the moment to designate a person to form a new government. It is what could be expected after an election, at the start of the natural democratic process. This mission is given today to the same person who led the previous government, Mr. Mateusz Morawiecki. Mr. Prime Minister, I am happy that today I can give this task to you. Thank you very much for the consultation talks, in particular those held yesterday, which were long but very interesting and useful, not only from a personal point of view, but also in regard to our future cooperation, and we could talk extensively about the shape of the future cabinet. Why am I saying that I am happy for that? It is because I can see that the 4 years of your experience of working within the previous government gave you a deep understanding of the state of affairs in Poland, first as the Deputy Prime Minister, then as the Minister of Finance, who is one of the most important ministers within the government, and finally as Prime Minister for 2 years. All of that experience has given you the tools to make things better and to eliminate the pitfalls which have sometimes appeared.
Dało panu to ogromne doświadczenie, które pozwala teraz wyeliminować mankamenty, które gdzieś tam się pojawiały.
Świat i Polska w szczególności stoi.
The world, and Poland in particular, is facing enormous challenges. There are many questions, but I have great hope that in cooperation with Mr. President we will be able to find adequate answers to those questions. These past 4 years have been the prelude to the next 4 years, which will be jump in development, a jump which will show Poles that the living standards they dreamed of at the European level are closer and closer.
4 lata, można powiedzieć, będą swego rodzaju rozbiegiem.
Donald Tusk, who steps down as the President of the European Council on 1st of December, gave a farewell speech at the University of Belgium in Bruges, where he tried to portray himself as a European statesman. Tusk was once again very critical of Brexit. Some commentators from the United Kingdom were critical of his intervention, suggesting that the speech was delivered by a lame duck, which refers to a politician without any effective power.
I have heard repeatedly from Brexiteers that they wanted to leave the European Union to make the United Kingdom global again, believing that only alone it can truly be great. You could hear in these voices a longing for the empire, but the reality is exactly the opposite. Only as part of a united Europe can the UK play a global role. Only together can we confront, without any complexes, the greatest powers of this world. In fact, I can say the same about Germany or France. And the world knows it. I have heard the same in India, New Zealand, Australia, Canada and South Africa, that after its departure, the UK will become an outsider, a second-rate player, while the main battlefield will be occupied by China, the United States, and the European Union. Why are they doing this? I was asked this regretful question everywhere I went. One of my English friends is probably right when he says with melancholy that Brexit is the real end of the British Empire.
United States President Donald Trump held a joint press conference with Turkish President Recep Erdogan in the White House today. Both leaders spoke in a conciliatory tone, although they admitted that the points of disagreement between their two countries remain unresolved. The most important bone of contention is the purchase by Turkey, a NATO member, of the Russian S-400 missile system.
Today, the ceasefire continues to hold, and I want to thank the President for his partnership and cooperation as we work to build a more stable and peaceful and prosperous Middle East. We've assured each other that Turkey will continue to uphold what it's supposed to uphold. I'm a a big fan of the president, I have to tell you that. And I know that the ceasefire, while complicated, is moving forward at a very rapid clip.
We have also discussed with President Trump how to achieve the $100 billion trade volume threshold as soon as possible. We believe that we should not confuse political incidents with commerce-related aspirations, and our secretaries of commerce are currently heavily invested in achieving the $100 billion threshold. We hope and pray that we will shy away from certain measures which will make it much more challenging for us to reach this target, and we have also quite naturally discussed our deeply rooted relations in the field of defense, primarily the S-400 system and the F-35 program. We can only surmount the hurdles that we face through dialogue.
Today, documents, letters and other memorabilia of General Anthony Hayder were given to the Modern Records Archives by his daughter. General Hayder, codenamed Shari, was a legendary commander of the Polish Home Army during the Second World War and of the anti-communist resistance after the war. He was famous for his extraordinary bravery.
Apart from Shari's personal documents, the Modern Records Archives also received precious sources for the research of the history of the Radomsko-Kieleckie regions in the context of the Home Army, including original orders and reports from the partisan actions. They also gathered photographs from conspiracy operations which have never been published before. The daughter of Antoni Heda gave us incredibly valuable documents in the form of original materials of her father's troops, such as pictures and other complementary materials.
To nie jest moja własność.
It's not my property. It belongs to the society. It's about time our society took ownership of all of our history. After all, it's not only ours, many generations will come after us. He was definitely a unique person. He was very just, but also loving. He loved people very, very much and was someone who dedicated his whole life to Poland.
Uważam, że to jest...
Antoni Heda, codenamed Szary or Grey, was a commander of partisan units of the Union of Armed Struggle and the Home Army. After the war, he was engaged in honoring places of German war crimes and places of battle of the Home Army during the Second World War, as well as taking part in the post-war anti-communist armed resistance. On May 3, 2006, Antoni Heda was promoted to the rank of Brigade General in retirement by President Lech Kaczyński. The brave general passed away in Warsaw on February 15, 2009.
That's the news. Thank you for watching. Do stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.